Your death won't come easily.
Hello, Sean of the Lore Hunter here, and this is Sekiro So Far, a series where I discuss everything we've learned about the upcoming action game, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. This is Appendix episode 3.2, and in this video I will discuss the new enemy and boss information that has been revealed by Game Informer during their month of exclusive Sekiro coverage. First, let's talk about the enemy and boss development of Sekiro. During Game Informer's time with Fromsoftware in Tokyo, Fromsoft discussed how they approach boss and enemy design in Sekiro. Fromsoft's communications manager Yasuhiro Katao said, "Sekiro, with a fixed protagonist, allows us to hone in on that single-player experience and tweak the boss battles and encounters to accommodate for all these tools at the shinobi's disposal." He continued, "We want players to eventually use every aspect of their arsenal, and really use their cunning and use every aspect of their skill set to take on these really challenging foes." In another interview with Sekiro's lead planner Masaru Yamamura, he reinforced this idea, stating, "We'd like users to experience all these options, and to incorporate them all into their toolset, and to take on challenges by thinking, what could I take from my repertoire in this situation? How could I apply that here?" I discussed previously in the Character Progression Appendix episode how Miyazaki describes stats as a way to specialize your build, and how Sekiro shifted away from stats in order to have the player use a variety of tools to take on the role of a multi-talented, multifaceted shinobi. It makes sense then that bosses act as a test of your competency and skill with your arsenal of tools and moves, and ability to judge which tools are right for the situation. This includes the player's skill with the grappling hook, which greatly changes the design space for bosses. In his interview with Game Informer, Miyazaki said, "The traversal options allow much more dynamic movement within the boss arena, both for yourself and the boss character. Previously, you would have had to just run around a huge boss's feet and hack away at his ankles, but now you have all these movement options. You can both fully use the extent of that arena." So not only can we expect more interesting encounters with larger bosses thanks to the grappling hook and ability to jump, but also we can expect that bosses overall will traverse their arena with a freedom and efficiency we have not seen in their recent titles. On a more familiar note, we can expect the phased boss design seen most prevalently in Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 to make a return in Sekiro. Miyazaki told Game Informer, "It has varying degrees depending on the boss, but yeah, you won't just see the same fight from start to finish. They will change up even the battle tempo or some sort of newer element to the battle in various degrees." As someone who found the phasing and multiple health bars of Dark Souls 3 somewhat inelegant, I think boss life tokens clearly dividing the boss fights into sections will benefit phased boss fight design. While I mentioned this in the Character Progression Appendix episode, I want to add here that bosses and mid-bosses will grant experience points and gold coins, but they will also drop important upgrade items. Mid-bosses will be optional, but they will also be a way for the player to collect prayer beads, which will permanently increase health and posture when 4 are collected. Bosses will provide important items and upgrades. Yasuhiro Katao said, "We do want people to feel like, yes, I've beaten this boss, I've gotten something from it, I'm able to improve. It depends on the boss, but for instance, with one of the very early bosses in the game, you acquire the item that allows you to begin restructuring your prosthetic tools, so this opens up a whole new line of customization." Surprising no one, it was confirmed that there will be optional bosses, and Miyazaki added that they're going to be pretty tough this time as well. Rounding out this section, Miyazaki was asked what his favorite boss in Sekiro was, to which he responded, "That's a tough question. Actually, one of them I really like, you saw in the TGS trailer, is just a glimpse at the end, the giant ape. I hope you look forward to that one. Another, you don't often see it in boss fights, they use really dirty tricks. They're real devious, real underhanded techniques. Hopefully you'll know that one when you see it." We were teased with a number of enemies in the Game Informer coverage. Here's a quick compilation of what was shown. We got a brief peek at a developer showing off some speedrunning strats against the monk enemies seen in the TGS trailer. We got a glimpse of some spider-looking enemies also getting the speedrun treatment. Not confirmed to be an enemy, but here's a large fish the shinobi swims by. Here's a dog getting a shuriken snack from the shinobi. Game Informer confirmed that they are still the most annoying enemies in FromSoft's bestiary. We did not get footage of these enemies, but Game Informer discussed mutant roosters, Be Still My Heart, and poison-spitting lizards. The mutant roosters will raise a ruckus if they spot you, alerting other nearby enemies. The poison-spitting lizards can have the blood smoke death blow skill, discussed in Appendix Episode 1.1, used on them, creating a blood smoke cloud that will poison nearby enemies. Here is a torch-wielding variation of the basic sword enemy type, with the interesting addition of a lethal sword thrust previously unseen, which the player counters with a Makiri that leads to the unique Makiri deathblow we saw used on the spearman in the demo. This encounter is interesting in that it is only the third instance of a basic enemy using a lethal attack that we've seen. It may be the torch-wielding enemy swordsmen are designed to be tougher than the standard swordsmen, or possibly that lethal attacks from basic enemies will be more common in the full release than what we saw from the Gamescom TGS demo. In these encounters, we can see little coins floating from a bag that drops after killing an enemy, and the shinobi sucking them up by holding X or square. And last but not least, here is a wild looking encounter a developer had with a horde of illusory or ghostly enemies. Time to talk about the mid-bosses and boss of the Harada Estates. Game Informer was only allowed to show snippets of these encounters, which they scattered throughout their coverage. Also, the footage shown is without HUD, so there are no health or posture bars visible. I compiled these snippets into the most cohesive clips I could manage, in order to discuss the moves and abilities we have seen from this limited gameplay. I will play the compiled clip without commentary first, and then discuss what was shown. First, let's look at the mid-boss Ninja Hunter Enshin Hachiyuji. Alright, the first move we see is a woefully out of range lethal thrust attack. Then, the Ninja Hunter closes the distance and uses this quick sweep and stab attack. The player puts pressure on him, causing him to use the sweep and leap back attack to gain some space. The player keeps pressure on, and he leaps back and performs a running lethal thrust attack. After mixing it up for a moment, he leaps back even further and performs a similar running lethal thrust, except this one has the telltale gleam of a charged attack and ends with his spear pointed skyward. This makes the player back off, and the Ninja Hunter closes the distance and performs that basic sweep and jab we've seen, but this time combos it into a lethal thrust attack. There's a gap in the footage, and we cut to the Ninja Hunter charging and using a lethal thrust that is followed up by 3 more thrusts. The player performs a Makiri on the final thrust, which we have seen previously does posture damage to the enemy and restores a chunk of the shinobi's posture. Next, the Ninja Hunter performs an uncharged, stationary version of the skyward lethal thrust attack. The player avoids it, interrupts the ninja hunter's next attack with a shuriken, and closes the distance with a follow-up dash that gives them the opportunity to break their posture. The player then performs a death blow similar to the death blow performed on the samurai general after having their posture broken by damage. The ninja hunter gets up, indicating they have at least 2 life tokens that need to be eliminated in order to defeat them. The footage cuts to the end of this battle, as the player attempts to jump over the skyward lethal thrust, which proves ineffective. Try dodging lethal thrust attacks instead. And that's Ninja Hunter Enshin Hachiyuji. His bag seems to be getting range on the shinobi and poking him with lethal thrust attacks. Keeping pressure on him and closing the distance with the shuriken's follow-up dash was effective, while jumping was decidedly not. Let's move on to the second mid-boss of the Harada Estates, Juzou the Drunkard. Juzou starts off the fight with a charged headbutt, followed up by 4 one-handed overhead swings of his Mirakumo. He then attacks with 2 horizontal swings, an attack that he will perform frequently during this footage. The second hit connects with the shinobi, and I think it breaks his posture, but he is able to leap away. The player follows up with a flip in, slash twice, flip out move that we have not seen before. I am inclined to believe that this is a combat art because of the more pronounced slash lines that follow special attacks, but it could be another unlockable attack or perhaps separate inputs altogether. Getting back into the fight, Juzou attempts to catch the shinobi with another set of horizontal swings as he jumps away. He then attacks with a pair of two-handed overhead swings of the Mirakumo that the player easily dodges, but I bet hit like a truck if they connect. Then the player uses the firecracker tool, stunning Juzou. We see a wide follow-up slash performed afterward, and the shinobi gets in 2 more normal attacks as Juzou recovers. He then attempts 2 more double horizontal swing attacks seen previously. He performs another charged headbutt attack, this time spewing out his sake in a cloud that inflicts the shinobi with either the poison or toxic status effect. At this point, the footage cuts to a grab and slam attack that he finishes with a stomp that seems to KO the shinobi. And that's Juzou the Drunkard. One interesting thing about this fight is that we didn't see a single lethal attack. Even the grab does not have the warning kanji appear, when similar grab attacks by the Chained Ogre from the demo do prompt a lethal attack warning kanji. So either the kanji did not appear during the fight for some reason, or all of the attacks we just saw are able to be blocked. Not that you'd want to take the posture damage from blocking too many of his attacks. Without the HUD, we can't see how much damage he does, but I bet he hits like a truck. It seems like the strategy is to try and avoid his attacks and take advantage of his slower speed and highly telegraphed wind-ups. And definitely clear the area when he slams his foot down. Now that we've covered the mid-bosses, let's talk about the boss of the Harada Estates, Lady Butterfly. The first move seen is Lady Butterfly dashing around, chucking 2 sets of kunai, and then rapidly closing in on the shinobi and slashing with her kunai. The shinobi responds with a flipping slash, which I'm assuming is a combat art. We then see Lady Butterfly blocking the hits by kicking her leg, and it looks like she hits the shinobi with a counterattack at the end. Then, she performs a couple of slashes with her kunai, performing a hammer kick. After blocking a couple of attacks from the shinobi, she uses the double kunai slash and hammer kick again. The shinobi performs a special slash, indicated by the more defined trail from the katana, and flips away. Lady Butterfly pursues, giving the shinobi a charged kick and flipping away onto wires seen in the TGS trailer. The footage cuts to Lady Butterfly performing a breakaway attack in which she leaps backwards while throwing kunai at the shinobi. The player closes distance and attacks her, which she blocks and then backs away. Lady Butterfly pursues with a slash of a kunai. The footage cuts, and we see her block what I believe might be a multi-throw of the shuriken, an upgrade to the shuriken confirmed in the Game Informer coverage, followed up with a combo dash and slash. Lady Butterfly then lands the double slash and hammer kick attack, and we see the shinobi knocked to the ground. The footage cuts, and we see a lethal leaping leg grab attack by Lady Butterfly, which ends with her slamming the shinobi to the ground and stabbing him with her kunai. And that's what we've seen of the Lady Butterfly fight, but we've also learned some additional information. In his interview with Game Informer, Miyazaki talked about the inspiration for Lady Butterfly. He said, "I suggested initially this is a boss that's going to use illusory techniques. It's going to use these razor-thin wires to hop around and move around the map." He added, "Another thing is, I love these kind of old Japanese ninja stories created by the likes of Yamato Futaro, who kind of have this depiction of a strong, old Japanese ninja grandma." While we don't get to see the illusory techniques of Lady Butterfly in action, Serial Vasquez describes it in this article on the combat of Sekiro. After reading her attacks and attacking her enough, we're able to break her posture and land the death blow. But after losing her first life, she's got another surprise for us. When she gets back up, she's joined by a number of illusions, all of which are eager to cut us down with their hoes and knives. If these illusions are not quickly dispatched, they will turn into butterflies that attack the player at light speed. This brutal attack can be mitigated by players who pay attention and explore the world. There is a soldier who will tell the shinobi that they need snap seeds in order to defeat her. Snap seeds dispel illusions and make the fight quite a bit more manageable according to Game Informer. Defeating Lady Butterfly grants the player an important item, but it was not allowed to be disclosed. My personal bet is that it's the Fushigiri, but that's simply speculation. And that is what we've learned about the enemies and bosses of Sekiro so far. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and ding to be notified about my next video, and you can also follow me on Twitter @TheLoreHunter, where I will post new videos when they are released. Next episode will be an appendix episode covering new information about the story and lore of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Thanks for watching.